Welcome back to another episode of How Did They Grow? I created this podcast because I wanted you to learn how other coaches, freelancers, service providers, and course sellers are growing their business, landing 10 to 20 new clients every single month, paying them 50, 100, 200K months. See, if they've done it, you can too. And that's just the reality. And I want you to listen to these podcasts to understand what strategies are they using, what techniques are they exploring, because it's in these gems that you can apply it to your business and actually scale things up. When you're ready and you feel like you actually want to learn practical, proven methodologies, or even you want to hire a team that can build you a profitable personal brand, book in a chat with our team because we can guarantee you go viral and guarantee you get clients for your business.
All right, Pete, thank you so much for coming on to this podcast. To all our listeners, our viewers, I am so pleased to introduce to you Pete Surkwa, one of New York's most respected and in-demand fitness trainers, 5-time best-selling author and creator of the 90-Second Fitness Solution, a once-a-week, 15-minute workout that doesn't even require you to change your clothes or sweat. Pete is one of the only personal trainers to generate 7 figures per year for 16 years straight, and is launching a new book called The $1 Million Trainer. Pete, what an incredible journey. And what a story, 16 years. That's more than half my life. Thank you so much for making some time to speak to us. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you, Christelle, for having me on. I'm glad that that was half of your life.
a little bit more, a little bit more than that. What have you been up to? Please, I am so excited to speak to you today and just unravel the past 16 years. Can you tell us a little bit about the story? Where were you 16 years ago? How did this all begin?
It's more like a 30-year journey. I'm 61 years old now, but in my late 20s, I was doing personal training and owned a gym, and it wasn't going very well. I wasn't making any money. As a matter of fact, I had to work at a part-time job at night just to pay for the gym and make the bills. It was terrible. It was absolutely horrible, but I just was what I wanted to do. And I knew I could make money at it and be successful. I just didn't figure out the code. It took me nearly 10 years to figure it out. And then when I did, it took off like wildfire and it was great. But it was a long struggle for a little bit.
Wow, that I'm sure a lot of people can relate. I can relate to how difficult it can be, and taking extra jobs on and just to make the ends meet and paying those bills and paying the rent and all of that. And so what was the click? What triggered that success after those 10 years of struggle? Can you tell us a bit more about that? I
did math. So what I did was originally I knew there was a formula there. I just didn't know where it was. So I would go into gyms and I would go up to personal training friends of mine and I'd say, hey, are you going to go do a workout with your client? They'd say, yeah. I said, do you mind if I go sit in the corner? I've got, paper and pen and, legal pad, and I'm just going to take notes. I'm working on something. And, I would ask their permission. Yeah, no problem, Pete. Everybody kind of knew me and it wasn't a big secret. I would also go up to people and just say, hey, Christelle, are you going to go work out now? Yeah. Would you mind if I just took notes on your workout, sat in the corner? I won't bother you at all. No problem. I also brought with me a stopwatch and I didn't really know why. At some point I started timing the sets and I would write them down and I would write your workout down. What I found out after about a year of doing this and taking lots of notes was the average person would go into the gym for an hour.
Yeah.
They would do a 10-minute warm-up on the treadmill. This is on average. Okay. Obviously we have outliers on both ends. So 10-minute warm-up on the treadmill. Then they would do 3 sets of 12 on about a dozen exercises, maybe some stretching, and then they would shower, change, and leave. So this was an hour to an hour and 15 minutes. And I had this formula that was an average. Then I found out that by timing it, the average set of 12 repetitions in good form took about 15 seconds to complete. So now follow me on the math. 3 sets of 12, each set takes 15 seconds. So 15 seconds times 3 sets is 45 seconds. Times about a dozen different exercises is 540 seconds. Divide that by 60 seconds in a minute, and you come up with 9 minutes. That was my breakthrough moment. So, Christelle, you would go to the gym for an hour to an hour and 15 minutes and only accomplish 9 minutes worth of work.
That is insane.
I asked myself a question. What if I could just give you the 9 minutes worth of work and be more productive but more time efficient? Is that something my clients would be interested in? And could I charge the same amount of money? So instead of $50 for an hour, $50 for 10 minutes. And the answer was yes. Everybody jumped at the opportunity. Nobody turned me down. Everybody said, "You're going to save me 50 minutes?" I said, "I am." And then I had to come up with my own program to do that and back it up. And that's where it took off.
That is insane. Oh my goodness. And that is so true, actually. Like every time I think about going to the gym or any fitness class generally, always it's a minimum of 45 minutes, 55 minutes. Some people just stay there for ages, 2 hours. And it's just when you compare it to the program you created, it's just such a waste of time. You can do so much more with your life and getting the same results. That is amazing. Did you have to do lots of research and have, the scientific data to convince your clients to get this, or was it just easy for them to hop on?
No, none. And the reason for that was science wasn't anywhere near where we were back then, and it's nowhere near where it is now. There's science. I've got very good friends who are PhDs who do research papers, and I look at these papers now, and they're still catching up to some of the things that we were doing 50 years ago.
Wow.
So it was trial and error for me. I came across a program that was solicited as something for bodybuilders, but I knew it wouldn't work for the average person. And I used that as my light bulb moment. I used that to make people what I would call smaller, tighter, stronger, and healthier.
I love that. That's really nice. How amazing. Is there one client story that pops in your mind the most when you think of that period in your life?
There's a woman named Karen who back then, 20 years ago, was 71 years old. And she was in pretty good shape. She wasn't overweight in any way. She didn't need to lose weight, but we talked about being stronger as we got older. And that was a big thing for me. I wanted quality of life. We really don't have control over quantity of life. You never know when your number's up. But I would like people to be strong and healthy right up until the last breath. So it's Karen at 71 years old. I asked her what one of her fitness goals was, and she said, "I always wanted to be able to do chin-ups." So I said, "Okay, I've got a method where we can make you strong enough to do your own chin-ups." And we followed it. The method was just the lowering part of the chin up, not the raising up, not the pulling up. And we did the lowerings for time for about 6 weeks, and then came in there and she did 5 chin ups on her own.
Wow. That's a goal for so many people I know. Just a single chin up. I would love to do a single chin up.
Many women and men feel the same way, so we did it. So we proved that it doesn't matter how old you are, you can still get stronger.
That is incredible. And then you wrote this book, best-selling author, 5-time best-selling author with a huge publisher. How was that success for you? How did that feel? How did you celebrate?
It's a funny story. Gentlemen, I was doing, as a personal trainer, I was doing between 100 and 130 sessions per week. So the average trainer works out for an hour with their clients. If they can do 20 sessions in a week, it's a lot. It's a 20-hour week, plus travel, plus, their scheduling issues. Some trainers get up to 40 sessions a week, which is a big business. And I was doing over 100 sessions a week. And I was charging much more money than the average trainer. I was like a machine. I was moving at a very, very high pace. New people were coming in all the time and saying, "I heard about your workout. Can I try it?" I would give them one exercise only and push them out the door. "Here's my rates and policies on a card. If you want to sign up, call me. If not, it was nice meeting you. And I don't want to hear from you again." So with that, a gentleman came in I heard about your workout. Great. Let me give you one exercise. I asked him a couple of questions, talked to him for 5 minutes, gave him one exercise, pushed him out the door. He called me back an hour later and said, I'm with the William Morris Agency and you should write a book about this. And I said, wow, that's great, but I don't write books. And I hung up on him. So that happened multiple times where I said, I can't be bothered. I don't want to hear this, until they told me how much money they were going to pay me just to write the book. So we went about it that way. So the book had nothing to do with making me successful as a personal trainer. It came after the fact. And I really think that's important for people to know, because some people said, oh, well, you know, a publisher got behind you and that's how you became successful. I said, no, quite the opposite. So it was really different. But that's how did I celebrate over it? You know, I really didn't, because it wasn't what was important to me. What was important to me was doing personal training at a really, really high level. That was something that was significant. To break 100 sessions a week as a trainer, and ultimately I was charging $125 for a 15-minute workout with me. Right. And doing 130 of those a week. So that was big. The books were like, they were kind of a pain in the ass.
I can imagine. There must be so much that goes behind just writing a book, and then there's the publishing. But then, so that was your mission then, your life mission, you know, providing those workouts, getting those results, saving time, and just giving the people the quality that they needed.
That was it, 100%. I wanted to know what is the upper limit. I used to write goals down. I remember my first goal in the 80s, late 80s, was, can I make $1,000 a week as a personal trainer? And the answer back then was no, I wasn't making it. I wasn't doing it until I cracked the code. And then I had a goal of $5,000 a week, which was huge. And then I wrote down and told my friends, I'm going to go for $10,000 a week, $500,000 a year as a personal trainer. And everybody said, absolutely impossible. You can't do it. It won't happen. And even I was even doubting myself at some point. I was like, yeah, it is kind of a big number, but I figured out the code and went after it, did it. And then I wanted to say, well, can a personal trainer break $1 million a year? And how would that look? And it took me a little while to figure out that formula, but then I did it and maintained it for 16 years.
That is absolutely incredible. Those numbers are numbers that people can't even fathom, you know, and to just do that and then set the limit even higher and then higher and higher, because you keep achieving it because of this code that you broke down and figured out. It's absolutely insane. How would you say your mission has changed now? Because now that you have your new book coming out, and this is more geared towards the personal trainer, right? And you want to teach the personal trainers, how has this mission changed in your life in order to make this happen?
Well, now it's not about the personal training anymore. Now it's 100% about helping other trainers or showing what's possible. So I came up with this book idea about 1.5 years ago. $1 Million Trainer was just a natural title that came out. That's the name of my Instagram channel. And I've been doing a lot of interviews as the $1 Million Trainer. So $1 Million Trainer, the book, is going to be a very affordable vehicle. I'm not selling an online coaching program. I'm not trying to upsell anything. I'm really just explaining the journey on how I went, how it happened, how I developed it, and I'm sharing all the information. The interesting parts of the book are going to be how much technology I did not use. I did not use things like AutoPay. I did not have a big marketing program. I didn't use software. When I started this program, Facebook was just being launched. So I didn't use Facebook to develop my clientele. Nothing. I used nothing. And I want to show that to people, because everybody seems to be working the funnels and working the marketing and the advertising, and they're signing up for these unbelievable programs, and they're not getting $1 million results. So we're just sharing information now.
Absolutely. That's the best way to go. So it's basically like the anti-program program, the anti-modern program, because like you said, everyone on here, everyone online trying to sell a program one way or another. some guru, something. But that's really inspiring. That's really interesting. Can you give our listeners a little sneak peek of what goes on in this book? I know it's not out yet, but is there anything you can share with us?
I hope you're enjoying this podcast. I hope you're taking notes. I hope you're learning so much practical wisdom, because that's what I really wanted from this podcast. Now, I just want to quickly say, if you're looking for a team that can actually help you explode and go viral with your personal brand with proven methodologies, I say this because I've been doing this for the past 5 years. We've got a team of 30 people who are ready to go ahead and explode your brand so you can get clients begging to work with you. Have a chat with one of our advisors. You can book in a chat using one of the links around this video, because that chat might just change your life.
Sure. I've got a couple of rules as a personal trainer. If you want to be successful in the personal training business, rule number 1, it's not about you, it's about them. And anytime I give a talk or I'm doing a speaking event, anytime I'm in front of people, I tell them all about rule number 1. It's not about you, it's about them. What does that mean? Well, when I go on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, anything, and I see a personal trainer advertising their business, they're wearing a muscle shirt and they're showing their biceps. And that message means it's about them, the trainer. It's not about the client. When I was doing my personal training sessions, I was wearing a button-down shirt, a warm-up coat, slacks, shoes. I looked more like your doctor and less like your trainer. And I modeled my business after a doctor's office or a physical therapy office. It looked very, very professional. So when you walked in the door, Christelle, it was all about you. I was standing there with my clipboard and my stopwatch and your information. And it was about, how are you feeling today and what can I give you? And when I modeled my business after a doctor's office or a physical therapy office, business took off because the clients really appreciated the service. So it's also not unlike a fine restaurant, a 5-star restaurant. If you've ever gone to and I'm talking about a very expensive meal, dinner for 2 going for hundreds and hundreds of dollars, you'll see the waiter will walk up to you, or waitress. They will be dressed very, very well. And it's all about you. What can I get you while you're looking at the menu? It's about customer service. And that's the key to probably any business, but specifically or particularly this business. It's a customer service business. And when you realize that it's not about you, it's about them, business doubles. And there was no advertising and no software and no fancy, ads or lectures. Boom. It's just word of mouth goes around fast.
Right. Of course. In this kind of space, I can only imagine if I'm looking for a personal trainer. I'm coming to you with issues. They might be physical issues. They might be insecurity issues. I want to feel like I'm being taken care of, seen, heard, understood, and not judged. I can definitely say that if I walked into a gym, or when you used to walk in a gym, now with my kids, I don't have so much time anymore, but being surrounded by people who are obviously very physically strong and, showing themselves off like that makes it very intimidating for anyone. So I can totally see how your approach, showing up in a button-down shirt, taking that doctor's office approach, can take down that barrier and take down that wall, and can absolutely be one of, or the biggest, probably not the biggest because the program itself brought the results, but one of the points that brought you so many clients and made them trust you, and that word of mouth is the best kind of marketing you can have. It's free and people trust it the most.
I believe that any personal trainer can benefit from some of the customer service tips that I give, any type of training. Even if it's an hour workout, it should be about the client and not about the trainer. So right. I just wanted to develop a time efficient program. That was my market that I was going after.
Yeah.
But secondary to the customer service. So you can literally double your income as a personal trainer or a coach if you start to focus a little bit more on the customer service aspect of this.
Wow. So who would you say this book is for? Obviously personal traders, or who would you say this book isn't for? Are there like specific types of personal trainers who you think this book isn't for you?
I think this book and some of my methods will apply to many businesses. It could be a plumbing supply store. It could be a doctor's office. It could be, people who are not doing well in business could benefit from learning about putting the customer first. It's really just customer service. So if you are dealing with customers for your income, you can get something out of this. There's a broader message here. It's not about personal training specifically.
Yeah, that's really good. That's amazing. I mean, I can tell already that this applies to many industries, many people, just by the things you've said. That is such gold advice. The customer service, I feel, even in person, not just online services, but in-person services, wherever you go, it could be a restaurant. Sometimes that's lacking nowadays, and a lot of people could take some notes on what you're saying and what you're writing in this book. When do you plan on publishing this book? When is this coming out?
We're moving pretty quickly. It should be ready by spring. So I've got a little pressure on me. I've got a few months to get it together and finish it up. So, but it's looking good.
That's great. That must be super exciting. And what are some things that are leading up to that? What are these things that are putting pressure on your schedule right now?
I've been doing speaking events, and I've been doing some coaching with just getting people on who are struggling in their business, people that have been in business for many years, and maybe it was the pandemic that set them back, or maybe business just started sliding at some point, and I'm trying to help them see how they were successful in the first place. People naturally were more attentive to customer service in the beginning and may have let that slip over the years. So, and as I'm doing these either coaching sessions or speaking engagements, I'm hearing myself and I'm going, I got to put that down in the book. So that's what's really making the book expand a little bit more, and it's putting pressure on me. Like at some point I got to say, okay, well, that's it. That's enough for this. Maybe I'll have to do a second volume down the road, but right now I think I have enough material.
Amazing. Is there a specific event that you're looking forward to? Perhaps a speaking event after the book has been published? Are you doing a book tour? Anything interesting?
I will be doing a book tour. There is an event coming up next November called the Strength Forum. It's for high-intensity personal trainers and studios. I was a speaker and demonstrator last year, and I'm looking forward. I'm hoping they invite me back for this year. Either way, I will attend the event because it's a fantastic event with very focused personal trainers who are working at a high level. And last year I did a speaking engagement for a franchise called Discover Strength, which in my opinion is a remarkable franchise for high intensity strength training. It's a unique operation, and I really enjoy what they do. So speaking at their event was a treat for me. Hopefully I'll get invited back to that one. So I like connecting with some of these very successful people that are in our space.
Oh, I hope that gets to happen for you this year again. That sounds like a wonderful event, surrounded by people just like you, and in this industry. That's the best you can ask for. I can imagine that once this book launches and you do your book tour, and all these speaking opportunities come out and are published and are posted and all of that, you're going to get so many people come to you and want to speak to you even more, and perhaps even ask for one-on-one coaching sessions, or maybe not coaching sessions, but maybe business coaching. And is that something that you're interested in doing, or do you do that already?
I do a little bit of it now. I'm not doing it on a large scale because it's time is money, and it takes up quite a bit of time. I do some occasional Zoom calls where we can get 10 or 20 people on. I enjoy doing those. Am I open to it? Yes. I will help wherever I can, but for the most part, I think the book should be complete enough where I can get enough information out for people to at least get started or make a change. So we'll see how it goes. But if there's a need for it, and if it's something that I'm kind of pushed into, I'll do it.
Okay. Interesting. I love this approach that you've taken on everything that you've done so far, but in particular in launching this book. I know you have so much so much going on and a lot of pressure on you, but I must imagine there's a team behind all of this that helps you, schedule all of these things. And but what would you say is the most impactful avenue in terms of spreading the word and informing people in the sense of marketing, really?
For the book or for personal training?
Both.
Well, so for the book, yes, there's a team. So for the book Over My Shoulder, the 90-second fitness solution, that was published by Simon & Schuster. They're a major publisher. And they were in a bidding war with Random House for the rights to this book. They have a PR team, they have a marketing team, they have an editing team. I mean, and when I say team, there was no less than 5, 6, 7 people per team that I would come in contact with. Speaking engagements, I was on radio, TV, magazines, constantly. I think I stopped counting at 5,000 interviews because I got a little burned out at that point. But there is a machine in place that takes care of this. It's on a very large scale. It's a lot of money involved. And that's one way to go. How will I do it this time? Some of the same. There'll be a marketing team in place. There'll be an advertising team in place for PR agent, stuff like that. We're gonna publish it a little bit differently to meet the times. Times have changed in publishing over the last 10 years. So we're trying to make the appropriate adjustments, but it should be a lot of the same as far as the book goes.
Right. So this book is being pushed out. I remember you mentioned, your Instagram page is called The $1 Million Trainer. How come it's being pushed out as the name of the book and not your own name? Why not go the personal brand approach?
I have an Instagram page for Pete Serqua as well. And it's growing fine. The book is going to get out there with podcasts like this one. And I've done quite a few of these interviews already. This is a great way. It's an organic way to get the message across. When people get when the word gets out and people start searching for information and your podcast comes up or some of the other ones, that'll steer them towards the book. I think that's the best form of marketing. Paid ads are not going to get you where you want to be, in my opinion. So we're going to try to do it this way this time.
That's great. I'm already so excited. I'm absolutely going to follow you on all the platforms and, keep track and see when this comes out and see you on your book tour and all your speaking events. So final question. I know that 2025 is all about this book and the book launch and the tour. How would you summarize 2025 for you, and where do you see yourself at the end of the year? Okay, so more than one question. And what could be the biggest challenge you will have to overcome this year to get to the end of this year?
Well, this 2025 is going to be all book all the time. It's going to take the focus of my attention. It's going to take 100%. If you want to do it well, you can't do 3 or 4 things at the same time. So a lot of things will be taking a back seat. I want to get the manuscript done, edited, printed. Cover design is coming up very soon. Final editing. And then when we print and we're ready to put it out there, then it's going to be podcasts and advertising. I'll probably do radio, TV, and magazines again. And that'll be it. It'll be getting the message out there, speaking events, but everything's going to center around the book this year.
Incredible. Thank you so much for sharing that. Do you have a final message for our listeners, our viewers, or perhaps a personal trainer who's just starting out and dreaming of making that first million?
Yes. It's a great story that I heard where Warren Buffett and Bill Gates became fast friends, and they got together at Bill Gates' dad's house. And you may have heard this story. So the Bill Gates and Warren Buffett are sitting at Mr. Gates' home, and Mr. Gates came over and said to both of them, here's a piece of paper and a pen. I want you both to write one word that summarizes your success. and don't show each other. And let me see what the word is. And both Warren Buffett and Bill Gates wrote the word focus. And that meant something to me when I heard that story. I thought it was interesting that two of the most successful people in the world were focused on their success. Actually, they weren't focused on their success. They were focused on their mission. The success just came. And that was me. I was focused on giving a unique workout program, and I was focused on excellent customer service. And I wasn't focused on the success or the money. The money came as long as I delivered my exceptional customer service. And I think that'll be true of the book. As long as I focus on getting a good message out to people that's helpful to them, not selling them on anything, I think the success of the book will speak for itself.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's amazing. I actually have just one last question, because our listeners and viewers in particular might feel like they're very far away from where you are, but they dream of being where you are one day. And it can be very difficult to shift from, I need to make the money, I need to make the money, I need to sell, and making that shift to focus on your message, focus on your service, and the success will come, the money will come. Is there a trick or a key to making that switch?
Yes. So Pete's number one rule, it's not about you, it's about them. I can't say that enough times. You really have to operate in that space, especially mentally. So let me give you an example. So Christelle, if you came in for a workout for me, I would put you, let's say I even put you on a treadmill for 10 minutes just to warm up and ask you some questions. And I'm dressed appropriately and professionally, and I've got my clipboard and my stopwatch. And right away, I'm going to say, Christelle, how are you today? Because there could be jobs, kids, spouses. There's all these external stresses that are happening to you that I really don't know about at the moment. And it's not like I'm trying to get involved in your personal business. I want to know how you are. Are you hydrated? Did you sleep well? And if you say, you know what, Pete, I didn't sleep well last night. One of the kids was sick. And then I got to work this morning and my boss was really in my face. So I'm dealing with that. And I forgot to even eat lunch today. Well, okay, now I know what I'm dealing with, or a little bit more about what I'm dealing with. So if I now say, and here, this is key, Christelle. If I say, Christelle, on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 is easy, and 5 is I'm going to try to kill you. What level of workout would you like today? And you say, you know, given everything I just told you, why don't you give me like a 2-3? Okay, so let's go to the first exercise. So I put you in the first exercise, and I, according to my notes that I take every week on every session with your workout, I try to deliver this 2-3. Okay, and when we're done with that exercise, you sit up and I say, Christelle, did I deliver the 2-3 that you were looking for? Now, it's not about how well I did delivering the exercise. It's about the feedback that you're giving me. So if you say, you know, that was a little easier than I thought it would be, maybe we could do a little bit more on the next exercise. Excellent. The message there is, from the minute you walked in the door and every exercise afterwards, I'm getting feedback and asking you what I can get for you. Just like the waiter. What can I get for you while you're looking at the menu? And that can change. You can change your mind 10 times. It doesn't matter. What matters is that I'm asking and delivering, asking and delivering. And you could change your mind. You can say, you know what, Pete? We did 3 exercises now, and I'm feeling a little bit better. You know, I wasn't feeling great coming in, but I'm starting to feel pretty good. Why don't you give me like a level 4 on the next exercise? Let's try one of those. Sure, let's work it. Let's go. Okay, let's do it. So it's not this macho attitude of me being a drill sergeant. It's about asking my client what they want and delivering it. And then asking again, not assuming that once you say level 4, well, that's it, you're getting level 4 the whole workout. No, that could change. Or maybe I didn't do my job properly and I need an adjustment. Ask the client. It's really that simple. It's so simple. It's ridiculous.
You're right.
The client's going to walk away with, wow, that was great service. And they're going to
Absolutely.
tell you got to go work out with Pete. You know why? I don't even know why, but he's really great and you got to go see him. That's how business
Exactly.
that easy.
That I don't even know why, but you just have to go and trust me. I love that. It's the curiosity and wanting to do it for the client and wanting to provide that personable, customized, unique experience. That was incredible. What an incredible story. What an incredible journey. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. I'm truly so grateful, so thankful for your time. Thank you for giving us an insight on what's coming up in your new book, $1 Million Trainer. I am so excited for all of that to come out. Truly so grateful. Thank you so much for your time, Pete.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me on.
I really hope you enjoyed this podcast. I want you to go away and execute everything there is that you've learned. Now, one thing I will say is if you're in a position where you're ready to actually take things to another level, you want structured, clear guidance, you want a team that can actually help accelerate you, book in a chat with our advisors. Why? We can blow up your personal brand to attract clients begging to work with you. All you got to do is book in a chat with our advisors and we can help make it happen. Sound fair enough?